Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hello there.
Well, hello.
Welcome to Highly Uncircumcised.
Yes, welcome. Thank you for joining us
I'm
today.
joining you from another galaxy.
You're on what was it called? Inspiration 4? What was it?
I don't even know. I just rock out intergalactically.
Have you seen that? It's the first non-astronaut manned flight, right?
Yeah.
Elon Musk's, what's it called? Inspiration 4 or something like that.
Were they associated with Elon Musk?
I believe so, right? Wasn't his
Was
rocket?
that SpaceX? I feel like I don't think so, but you could be right.
I'll have to look into it more. All I saw
anyway,
was that it was non-astronauts paying for I'm for sure I think it is because they're paying basically for his space exploration by being able to go outside of our not solar system but outside of our atmosphere for
they actually went 360 miles, so that's way outside.
Is that outside our solar system? How far is our solar system?
Not the solar system. You'd have
is
to
it
get
like
beyond Pluto
on your world right there? How far? Like
well, what happened was I actually passed them on the way out, and I only saw 3. They said there was 4, but I only saw 3. And I'm not going to tell you where I'm at because that's highly classified, uncircumcised information. So,
that's too uncircumcised.
You
too
can't
much.
handle what happened here.
Okay.
This is
I know why you went there. I know why.
Why did I go there?
Because Gavin Newsom didn't get recalled. That's why.
Let me just say,
Governor of California, by the way, for non-Californians, had a recall election. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, or maybe last week, and we were going to follow up because you said I am going to go to last week because you're gonna say I'm gonna go to the polls and I'm going to vote today. And let us know what happened, Michael. Did you change your stripes? Did you Michael said he's never voted to recall a governor in his life, and he didn't think he was going to do this one, but he couldn't see himself doing it.
Well, I immediately left the beach last week to go to the polls, and I actually voted
the beach in Australia, by the way.
In Australia, yeah. I actually voted no on the recall.
Oh, you did not change your stripes.
There is no way in the world that I was going to give a vote to Larry Elder to run California or anything else.
Doesn't necessarily mean Larry Elder was going to win, but okay.
Oh, he was leaps and bounds far and away ahead of everybody.
That's
if you vote for the recall, then you're voting for him.
That's what they say, according to
go off
polls.
Of what they say.
Yes.
Well, I have to go off of what they say. And because of what they said, there was no way in hell I was voting yes on the recall. Because having Larry Elder as a governor, I might as well just, move to Texas or whatever. And because, I've already had a couple abortions and I'm prone to getting them, I can't go to Texas. So, yeah. So what I actually did was after I voted no on the recall, I got in my rocket ship and I left the galaxy.
So you left us here with Newsom after you voted no.
Yes.
What a jerk.
No, I felt it was the best thing for you. I took one for the team. And let me just tell you where I'm at. There's a lot of really cool interstellar beings. I'm not going to say they're people, but there's life out here, dude.
Other life forms.
And they like to roll. I'm with them. We're just like all day. My life has been great for the last week.
It's a nonstop party up there.
It's just a nonstop party, dude. Big head green people, people with 8 legs. It's crazy. It's freaking crazy. I'm the only humanoid here, but it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. I'll be back for Thanksgiving.
Well, when I make my first billion, I'll come join you. I'll fly one of Elon's rockets.
You don't need a billion. I'm not going to tell you exactly what you need on our stream just because everybody's so sensitive, but I'll tell you what you need off stream, and then you meet me before Thanksgiving, and then we'll roll back.
What?
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm intergalactic right now. I'm out of this world. My thoughts are out of this world. Okay.
So you voted no. So
I
he
did,
couldn't get himself to change his stripes. I mean, obviously it's fine. You vote for who you feel you need to vote for. But I also wonder what's going to happen with, is he only until next year? 2022, I believe, right?
Yeah, but he's up for re-election. He can run again, which he will, for sure.
Yeah, I hope he does.
That
leads me to this question, because we talked about this a little bit, and there were these news stories about ballots being stolen, but not only that, but then also a large in some polling places, people were showing up to vote, but they had said no, you already said you voted, right? So these random news stories, they of course, LA Times doesn't talk about it. LA Times is very extreme.
Do they still exist?
Yes, and they're very extreme. So in one direction, right? The Trump extreme and then the LA Times extreme. So they didn't really talk about it at all, of course, but it leads me to question, because I never did question before with all this Trump stuff, and I'll audit and check the votes, and makes me wonder, and also thinking about how you were saying, are we as free as we think? Is that, do you think it's possible that these elections aren't exactly free?
No, I don't think it's possible at all. I think it's all right-wing nonsense. Anytime they lose an election now, they're going to blame rigged elections, and that's just going to be the narrative going forward everywhere. Larry Elder was already talking about how the election was being rigged a week or two before the actual election even happened. And as far as Trump and all of that nonsense goes, literally all the people who are espousing that there was a rigged election, no one has yet brought any evidence to the table of said rigged election. And not only that, the people in Trump's own camp were all saying, no, this was the most fair election we've ever had, because they can tell, through technology, just how fair and accurate the election actually is. So Trump couldn't even get his own people to get on board with him. It's always just right-wing kooks like the My Pillow guy and, a few other people who are being sued by,
Who's a My Pillow guy?
The Mike Lindahl, I think his name is, and he's just he's just a right-wing nut. There's been no legitimate or reputable source that has stated that there was that has given any real credible evidence of any sort of rigged election. So
what do you think about this? And when there are stories about people saying that they go and they're turned away because it says you've already voted,
I think consider the source. If you get someone who is a moderate, credible, member of any one of the parties to say that they have credible evidence of a rigged election, yeah, I certainly look at it. But again, there's literally been not one scintilla of evidence suggesting that the elections were rigged. And not only that, the Republicans are using said rigged elections to strip away voting rights from Democrats, but more specifically minorities in red states. So literally America has taken huge hops backwards in terms of civil rights and voting. It's literally going back to the 60s and before for minorities, because they love to blame us for losing elections. They give us all the credit when they lose, and none of the credit when we win. So it's kind of ridiculous.
How are they taking
Joe Biden, by the way? So we can talk about that too. So it's not just Mike venting on right-wing people. I literally have the same vitriol for Joe Biden, because Joe Biden wouldn't be in office without Blacks, and specifically Blacks in South Carolina during the primaries, because James Clyburn, the senator from South Carolina, basically got all the Blacks to vote for Joe Biden when Joe Biden was way behind all the Democratic frontrunners in the Democratic primaries. And then he just gained momentum after momentum after momentum into the White House, and literally hasn't passed a piece of legislation pertaining to the protection of Blacks in terms of the Policing Act, voting rights, anything that was on the table that we put on the table for like a more equal America. He literally hasn't done shit to implement. So Joe Biden can kiss every part of my ass just as much as any one of the people in Texas and all the other places that are stripping voting rights from everybody. America's just a sad place right now. But anyway, you were saying.
I concur. I'm wondering how they, because I get my news from the people, and so not from the news station. So I'm wondering how are they stripping voting rights from people?
So, and I'm no,
because that sounds like a headline to me, right? That sounds like a headline they say, because I hear people say that all the time. And to me, I'm like, are we just repeating what we're told? Like, what does that even mean? We're stripping voting rights from people.
So let's just look specifically at Texas, because Texas thus far has passed the most stringent voting rights, how they've curtailed voting rights of any state in the union. They've literally cut the number of places you can drop a ballot, like, the boxes where people actually literally drop ballots on a voting day or whatever, or pre-voting, to like 2 or 3 in the state of Texas. Now, geographically, Texas is the largest state in the United States, bigger than California, bigger than Alaska. It's huge. So let me put it in terms of what you would understand. It would be like you needing to drive from your house to Las Vegas in certain cases to drop off your ballot.
4 hours?
Yeah, literally. It could be that far away from you, right?
Is that how far away all voting stations are as well? Like, I mean,
that I can't tell you. I won't give you information that I don't have. I'm assuming that if you vote day of, there's probably more voting places than there are boxes. I just have to assume that. But you got to remember, Nichoel, that each side has whole swaths of people who literally just crunch data and crunch numbers, and they figure out everything from where people vote to how they vote to when they vote, right? Because there's pre-election voting, like you did, for instance, in the recall, right? I actually voted day of, you voted before it even happened, right? Mm-hmm. So the reason why I'm saying that is because they know statistically that Blacks and Browns typically do a lot of pre-election day voting. And they also know that a huge reason why they do that is because elections typically take place on a Tuesday. And typically, Blacks and Browns have the types of jobs where they can't just be like, I'm leaving, even though constitutionally, or they're supposed to be protected and you're supposed to be allowed X amount of hours to go vote and all that. But let's face it, everyone doesn't adhere to stuff like that, right? So if you think your job is threatened, you're not going to go vote in a recall election, no matter how you feel about it, if you think your job is on the line, right? So that's one thing. Another thing would be that they've stripped Sunday voting. And that was huge with Blacks, because what would happen is Blacks would have huge voter drives at churches, right? So you'd come to church and you'd be told, hey, go vote, or they'd have a big bus where you could get on the bus to go to the voting place and vote. They've stripped that away. So essentially what they've done is they've taken away all the convenience of voting for a certain demographic, right? So yeah, everyone still can get up on Tuesday and go vote. No one's going to be there with a Klan, outfit on and a Confederate flag saying you can't vote because you're Black. No, that's not going to happen. And if that happened, that would be put down immediately by National Guard and all that kind of stuff. But they don't have to do that. Racism is intelligent in 2021. It's not, inwards go home. It's, we're not hiring you for the job, or we're going to make it hard for you to vote.
Well, to be fair, the media adds the term racism to it. The politicians are simply trying to get their job, right? They don't care what color you are. They want people who they know are going to vote for them. And so that's what, I feel like, again, that's the media dividing. It's not saying like
when 9 out of 10 of your opponents, votes are Black or brown, then yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to come from a place of just overt racism. I hate Black people, I hate brown people, but you just know
No,
that
it's not.
you
It's
have
just
to make
I
life
don't.
hard
I
on.
want the people who are going to vote for me to vote for me. I mean, not that I'm saying it's good, right? Of course, I'm just think that they take the blame off of the system and the politicians and put it on, racism and right now I hate a Republican because they're racist, and the Democrats doing the same shit, in their way, right? Fucking Gavin Newsom probably does not have one friend that's anything other than white, right? But he
I would
talks
probably
about
argue differently than that.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just,
Yeah.
talking out my ass. But, so to say that it's racist, I mean, I think it's politics, right? It's power. It's what I need to do to get my job. It's
Well, no doubt about that. But this is America, and especially my view of America is going to look differently than your view of America. And funny enough, you're probably going to get more accurate and genuine information from me and people like me than you will from almost anyone else. And the reason why I say that is because I'm a Black person that is fully aware that he's Black. I'm married to a Black woman. I have Black children. I've grown up reading, studying Black history. I'm an educated person when it comes to the social construct of America. With all that said, I have plenty of white friends. I have plenty of Latino friends. I have plenty of Asian friends, right? So I literally have a very global look at people and relationships and all of that kind of stuff. So it'd be one thing if you were just talking to me and my entire world was Black. I lived with Black people. I went to church with Black people. I worked with Black people, and that was just all I dealt with, right? So if I was just sitting here like racist, 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 it might be hard to kind of take what I say with more than a grain of salt. But I'm someone who literally sort of interoperates with everyone on every level. And I'm talking corporately.
As we all should.
Yes, corporately, church, personally, all the way down to the gym. Some of my
up there
best
in the
friends,
universe with all those other life forms.
Exactly,
Do you feel like they're racist?
Thank you. They don't even know what race is, right? They're just
there's no race.
They have a name for me, and it's really just sexy human. They don't even know what race is. So
this is all the media shit that just keeps
media stuff.
Keeps it going.
I had said all that to say, basically, if I'm telling you that I think a policy is racist, I'm telling you that because I think the policy is racist.
Okay,
right?
now do COVID vaccination mandates.
COVID vaccination mandates are absolutely 100% counter to the ideology that America supposedly stands for.
No, but I mean for racism, it's 100% racist.
I don't think there's an element of racism.
Well, then you haven't been reading about it enough. In New York, less than 50% of the Black population is vaccinated, and yet they have a full-on vaccine mandate. You can't go anywhere, you can't go out anywhere without it. So in that case, wouldn't that be called racist? Like, that's what I mean about these politics. Like it gets to be spun in any way we choose.
No. I don't see that. Someone could explain that to me in a deeper way, and maybe I can understand why they'd see an element of racism there.
Well, you're basically I mean, Black Lives Matter actually just came out, and they're having a big debate or a big, I don't know, brouhaha with the city of New York for this very reason. They're calling it racism because they're basically not allowed to go anywhere now because you have to have a vaccination.
But I think you may be referring to a more specific instance of what I've read this week is there was this altercation in a restaurant.
But then they're carrying it forward.
I haven't read anything about Black Lives Matter attacking New York's policies on vaccination period. I did hear about this restaurant, and that, to me, when I read it, was one individual that was completely out of line, using the N-word against some people that, they got into an argument about the vaccination stuff. And by the way, the women that were that had gone to the restaurant were vaccinated. Some people that joined them, I guess like 1 out of the 4, 2 out of the 4 were not vaccinated. And if what I read was accurate, then the 2 out of the 4 that weren't vaccinated should have turned around and walked out. It should have never gotten to a point where there was an altercation. Obviously, I don't agree with the waitress or whoever it was using the N-word. That's just stupid. But yeah, this is what I was telling you. This is what I've been telling you over the last couple months when we've talked about this, is there are consequences for your choices. I'm all for you having the choice, right? You don't want to get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated. But don't start fights in restaurants that require vaccinations, because guess what? Again, it's a private business that's telling you you have to have a
in New York,
vaccination.
it's not a private business. It's government mandated in New York. Every business has to do it per government order in New York. Now, wouldn't you, if you're calling that about voting, saying in that instance, that's right, wouldn't you call that racist, right? And again, by the way, I don't call any of this stuff, right? I think it's news propaganda, but if you're going to, this is what I'm saying. When the news calls out and says, oh, they're racist over here because they're not allowing Black voters the convenience to vote, but they're not racist over here in this state where they're not allowing Black voter or people to actually go out anywhere out on town and live life.
Okay, but the difference, Nichoel, is that the policies that they're implementing in Texas are specifically targeted at Black and brown people, because they know that the policies that they're implementing directly affect mostly 90 to 95%
They know the same
Black
for
and
these
brown
vaccination
people.
rates.
New
They know
York's
the same.
policies affect everyone, regardless of race, creed, sex, religion, so forth.
They know the vaccination rates of every race, so they knew that going in.
Well, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I don't. So if all of the, let me put it like this. If all of those Black people that you're referring to in New York, the 50% that are not vaccinated, got vaccinated, then there would be no issue. Tell me how to resolve the issue in Texas.
Wait, what?
I'm asking you, or I'm
well, number one, I have an issue with what you're saying. If they all got vaccinated, if they only just did what we said. So again, here's what I'm suggesting.
I'm not again. It's your choice. It's their choice if they want to get vaccinated. I'm simply speaking to the issue that you brought up, which is that X amount of people can't move and operate in New York the way they want to normally because they're not vaccinated. We can argue the merits of whether that's right or wrong next. But all I'm saying is, if theoretically all the people in New York that were not vaccinated got vaccinated, you and I wouldn't be having this particular conversation right now, correct? Okay, now I'm asking you, how do we change the situation in Texas?
Yeah, well, again, that's politicians, right?
That's white politicians making policies that are directed at a group of people who do not look like them, do not vote like them, do not see the world like they see.
Again, see, you're not seeing it the way I'm seeing, and I'm not seeing it the way you're seeing, because what I'm seeing based on what I hear from people in social media, not from the news, right? I feel like what you're repeating is what you've heard on the news, which is that it's mass racism, which maybe it is, maybe 100% it is. To me, it's politicians playing the political game and going to do whatever they can to get their vote, right? The same shit's happening in New York, exact same. But what I'm trying to point out is that it's also racist. It's also I mean, they're playing political games with people's lives, and it's all ridiculous. But to say that this is not racist and to say, oh, well, corporations can do whatever they want. The corporations aren't doing whatever they want. They don't want this mandate. The government is forcing them to do it. And the government knows what percent of the population is vaccinated, and by race. They knew that going in. People told them that going in, like you're gonna shut out half of your Black population from society. You're shutting them out. But because you haven't heard this on the news, you probably haven't processed it yet or thought about it. And that's the question, is why isn't this on the news? Why isn't something like this what we're talking about? Why is this okay? Right? But all of a sudden we hear about Texas, we hear about them, and I don't know anything about them. I don't condone trying to stop people from voting, not at all, in any way, shape, or form. But you get one story on the news and it's us against them always, and it's racism always, and it's really, we're all one people. When we talk to each other, you know that, I know that, and none of this shit even matters. The only thing that really matters, the only thing that separates us, is being free or servient. Swear to God, that's fucking it. That's it. Free or serving people. That's it. And they keep all this other stuff. There's race and all for us to fight Republican, Democrat, race. We're gonna fight all day about this stupid shit, and none of that matters.
Okay, so let me just say, on a personal level, it's not like I disagree with you. I mean, I'm certainly not here to argue the ridiculousness of the news media, but I will say that you're misinformed if you think I'm watching a bunch of news, because I'm not. I read a lot of things that I feel are important to me or that I'm interested in. So I read a lot about the whole voting situation and the Voting Rights Act that was not even re-upped in the United States Senate, which is ridiculous.
I have a solution. What if I read somewhere someone said, like, what if, instead of all these like random holidays, President's Day or whatever, what if the election day is, a paid holiday, right? Like,
well, yeah, of course.
Like, that'd be a great solution.
But that would make it, again, that would make it too easy on everyone, right? And whether you're racist or not, you still have to agree that people that don't look like you are still people, whether you think they're as valuable as you are or not, they're still people. So they don't want things easier for certain people, right? So again,
yeah, but I mean, again, like, Republicans don't always run the Senate or the Congress or the House. Like, these things can be voted in despite them, right? Like,
no, this is all about states' rights. You need to read about states' rights. States' rights is just racism on its face. States' rights, the origin of states' rights comes like 150 years ago, when we were fighting a civil war, and certain states were like, well, shit, we don't care if Washington doesn't want to have slaves, Mississippi does, so Mississippi should have the rights because it's states' rights. So there's a whole history of states' rights that literally is birthed out of racism, the racism of America. Okay, listen, I feel like, as it pertains to New York and what you're saying, and I'm not armed with all the information on this right now, so forgive me, but I feel, just going off of what you're saying, right, and I'll just take it as accurate, that if that huge population of New York happens to be Black that's not vaccinated, I still have to stand on my principles and my argument, which is simply, if you're not going to get vaccinated, God bless you. I'm with you. If you don't want to do it, I don't want you to have to do it. But you have to understand there are consequences. Now, if you want to ask Michael more personally, how do I feel about New York mandating anything regarding the COVID virus? I say it's bullshit yesterday, it's bullshit today, and it'll be bullshit tomorrow. I was just talking to my wife yesterday. We went to our car dealership to get service done on our car, and the girl behind the cashier's desk didn't have her mask on. And I didn't have my mask on. We were both just happy not having our mask on. And my wife—
Real life for 1 minute.
Yes, my wife, who is the nurse, just asked her, like, do you guys require masks? And I saw the lady kind of bristle, and because she kind of, people are nervous now about talking about masks. And Esther was actually asking her, like, can I take my mask off? Because I see you have yours off. And she had already told me, Mike, like, why don't you have your mask on? I'm like, I don't want my mask on, right? So anyway, the girl was like, yeah, they require it, but I just, don't want to do it. And I looked at her and I said, then don't do it.
Thank you.
Don't do it.
Thank you.
She said, I'm vaccinated, And I said, I'm vaccinated and I've had COVID and I don't give a damn and I'm not wearing this mask. Here's your $300 for your service. Have a nice day. I'm so tired of COVID, the mask, vaccines, Pfizer, Moderna.
Everything's
I'm
political.
so tired of those words. I don't know what to do, which is why I'm coming to you live out of your galaxy. I don't want to be anywhere near your planet anymore.
Join the club.
It's ridiculous.
Yes.
But if you ask me, are there consequences for your actions? There are always consequences for your actions.
Well, but the question is, who gets to decide, right? Like, that's the thing.
The people that you vote into power.
Exactly. And so that's the thing about deciding. If really the only issue as human beings I see is being free or slaves, basically, right?
And
And
Nicole, if everybody thought like you, right, the world would be a much better place.
yes, and you
And
can
I'm
hire
not
leaders who are full of integrity, but that's what I was getting to
no,
with
when
your
I
idea
say
of
say
the
things like you, I'm not necessarily talking politically. I think politically is just sort of a derivative of who you are inside, right? It's sort of just a manifestation of what you think. I'm talking about things like you in terms of, because I know you, so I can speak on you, and I've known you for years. You don't have a racist bone in your body. You don't look at people and decide who they are based on what they look like or what religion they are and all that. I mean, you and I probably just equally think people are stupid because they open their mouths and prove they're stupid. Then we laugh at them. But other than that, yeah. But other than that, we don't. There's never been a time where you and I have gotten together and just been like, man, I can't stand person X because he or she is. It's more like I can't stand person X because they treat other people like crap. If everybody thought like you think, then the world would be a much better place to be. And we probably wouldn't even be having these conversations. But the reason why I'm stating this right now is because the world is not like you. And specifically, America is not like you. And I think the one hurdle that you have that I see, that I've always seen, which I think is part of your charm, is that you kind of think other people think like you.
You think I'm naive.
Yes.
I think everyone thinks like me 100% in their heart. If they really, I do 100%. You know why you think trash, they Nicole. Don't know. I don't believe that. I believe that we spent too much time in front of the news telling us what to think and to believe, and that we are separated and that we are different. Now, you know, what's the latest separation? Vax versus unvax, right? That's the latest one. It's constant division, right? In our hearts. And if we had a mandatory blackout of entertainment news, right, for 3 months, like, I truly believe a lot more people would be saying the same things. I think a lot of people feel the same way. Now you can say, is there race? Of course. And it's family led, right? We get back to our beliefs. There's families that believe this for their whole lives. They never knew why, or they just do. And then they pass it down to their children. And that's why you hope in an educational system and being around other people, we can change that. But the news itself, which is, I think, incredibly detrimental to our society, and making us appear that more people are bad than good. And I just don't think it's true.
I don't know whether more people are bad than good, but I would say that your assertion that almost everyone is good is naive, since you use that word. I don't agree with that. But I do fully agree with you that something like racism, for instance, is generational, right? You teach your kids who not to trust, who not to like, who not to believe in or think well about, right? So I can assure you that, like, your two children are, I would have to, if I was a betting man, which I am, I would bet that they're not going to be racist people, right? Now, that's maybe a reach, because I don't necessarily know your ex-husband as well as I know you, and he could have thoughts that he's giving them that may trump yours at some point. I hope not, but let's just say both you and your ex think the same in terms of that. 9.9% times out of 10, your kids are not going to be racist, right? So with racism, is how we teach the generation coming behind us. And so for that, I can't give credit to the news media, though I hear everything you're saying, because the news media is always going to be with us, Nicole. As long as there's human beings and there's a way to project information and all this kind of stuff, the way that news is broadcast 24 hours a day, there's gonna be news. People have to be smarter than that.
I have an idea.
Yes.
Let's start our own news corporation.
Dude, you don't want to do that with me. You don't want to do that with me. The world couldn't handle my news.
I want to do it because
then let's just do it. Let's just start our own network. What channel you want to be?
You win. UWIN. Yeah, because we all win when we watch You Win. You know, like it's what I of course are not responsible for racism or division, but they, I think, single-handedly deep in the divide very easily.
100% agree.
You know, very
100%.
very easily. And because again, you know, the in your face, whether it's fear or whether it's just, you know, ridiculousness, like the more outrageous, the more the story gets passed around, right? And so that means the more sales they make, whether it's on their advertising or just their name. And so that's how news is spread. You know, you can't tell a normal story about normal people doing normal good things unless it's outrageous or ridiculous. And everyone wants to watch a fucking car chase and everyone wants to see somebody dead. And like, it's just,
okay, but Nichoel, you realize the operative word there is everyone, right? The news is, well, obviously not 100%, but the news is feeding the appetite of the people. So the news media is not even really the problem, Nichoel.
It's continuous. People. It's continuous. Yes.
It's people.
We need to be better.
To hear if stories of people who got over COVID.
That's going to be on UN for sure. We're going to talk about how many people healed from COVID today. We're going to have the running.
Listen to me. Look at my face. Listen to me. Okay, I'm breaking you off pearls of freaking intergalactic wisdom right now.
Shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
Shut your mouth. Open your face. Listen with your eyes. Okay. If news of people getting over COVID sold more soap and more cars and more McDonald's combos than hearing about everyone who died from it, the news media would literally have news crews all over the city talking to all these happy, healthy people that got over COVID. It's society's desire to hear the sensational in the same way that you drive by a car wreck.
Ooh, don't say it. I hate looky-loos. I hate it. I hate it. Looky-loos. I won't even look. I refuse to look.
Just yesterday, I was on the freeway. A car had hit another car from behind. Nothing big, right? I mean, I don't even know if bumpers had fallen off. And everybody was stopped to watch this thing. And I asked my wife, I said, what is it with people's desire to see other people in precarious situations? It's nuts.
Because our lives are so meaningless that it's exciting to see somebody else hurt or worse, dead, right? And that's all we want to talk about. But I truly think that what we put into our body, whether it's food or what we watch, right, what we consume matters, and we can change that by choosing to watch something better. And even when we think the news isn't it is like 100%. It gives you the story it wants to give you, and you see that when you see the extremes. Like I'm saying, like the LA Times, if you see the extremes of their reporting, like when, speaking of Larry Elder, when he was attacked by a woman with an ape face on, she threw an egg at him, right? Like, you're laughing, right? You think it's funny. Like,
no, I just know this story. So it makes me laugh.
Okay, and the LA Times didn't even talk. They tried to even actually put a picture of him looking like he was slapping a black woman when really he was giving her a hug, but they stopped it in a point where, right? When they are, you know, I mean, that's what I mean. It's like, you have to be very careful of what you're consuming. If that had somehow been a Trump supporter, right, trying to go after Newsom, holy shit, we'd still hear that news story today. We'd hear that news story of some Trump supporter with a fucking gorilla mask on, riding a bicycle, throwing eggs at Newsom. That would be top of the news. I mean, everybody would talk about it. You know why? Because the news would not stop saying it. So there is this element that we don't realize, that it runs our lives. Now, of course, we allow it because we watch it, but somehow we have to get off this hamster wheel. You know, it's got to start somewhere.
Where?
You win.
You would be our news anchor 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You would never go home. You would literally be.
I'll just be talking all day long. Like, what we'll do at You Win is we will examine all of the major news stories, and we will give the actual realistic perception of it, and we will ask questions that help you critically think about these things, whether it's the right, the left, it doesn't fucking matter, right? Like you're gonna look at Fox News, you're gonna look at it because you can be like, oh, that's trash. But then we're gonna ask questions. Well, could this part be? Could they, right? And then you're gonna look at MSNBC and MSNBC, and the right will say that's trash, right? And then we're gonna ask questions. We're gonna do the shit that they're supposed to do, but they don't, because not on top of the fact that they're selling stories, is they're bought out. You know, they're corporately bought out, and we see that big time with COVID because their hugest sponsors are pharma. So it's fueling a terrible future if we don't get a hold of it.
Let me just say, as one of the contributing hosts of Highly Uncircumcised,
You win.
If there are any of our 63 viewers that have a connection to anyone that has any power in the TV, movie, cable industry, Nichoel Juergens and Michael Moore want a show. Yes. Can you please just put us in front of somebody? And I promise we will win. We will win them over. We will win. We just want a slot. We want a 30-minute slot once a week on some channel.
Oh, that's not enough. I need like 30 minutes every day. Every day.
I'm doing the public service announcement. We just need to get started here. Don't overwhelm people. See, this is what you do. You just overwhelm people.
And then, but then they love it. You know, I can't get rid of them then.
You know what, viewers, can I just tell you that me and Nichoel actually became friends because Nichoel would always talk crap about me.
And then
one day she realized I was actually having fun with it. And she was like, you like it, don't you? And I was like, yeah, I kind of like it. And then we became friends. So just know that that's Nichoel's personality, to overwhelm you. And then get in there.
And at first you're like, she's crazy. And then all of a sudden,
like,
who is this? Wait a second.
Wait, she's kind of funny in a like ouch kind of way.
I thought she was stupid, but she might be smart.
Stupid, but she's smart. She's a little smart. And then what she does is she burps in your face constantly.
I just sneak right up on you, you know, seal it with the burp.
It's like Novocaine. You just come on real slow, and then all of a sudden your mouth is numb.
That's what we're going to do with You Win.
You Win. I kind of like that. I mean, we may need to take that and table it and talk about it.
UWIN, yes.
Okay. I mean, that could work. That could work. So anyone who knows someone, please let them know and give us our shot. We want our shot. We're shooting our shot. We want our shot. Give us our shot.
Remember that episode you showed of, what was it? The roller skating girl. What's that movie? With the big fake penis.
Oh, Boogie Nights?
Yes. Wasn't that the one where you showed where I'm what's his name? What do you mean?
That heart and that soul on that tape, that's us. And you can't take that from us.
Yes. So
no matter what slot you put us in, but we want a slot. Give us a slot. Just one slot.
Listen to Michael Moore. Give us a slot. But that's enough for politics and raging against the news, like I like to do. Maybe we'll start. Maybe I'll start a letter, like a daily letter, and then you and I can do like a weekly. You know, it'll be our news desk. I think we should do it.
You're serious because you get that little crinkle in your nose and you go, that letter.
Because I think I need to. Like, I need to speak my truth, Michael Moore.
You speak enough to me, damn it.
You're tired of
your truth. I know your truth. She needs to get that truth out there. People, help me, help her. Help me, help her. It's cathartic. It's some other word that I don't know. Let us help Nichoel get her truth out, even though she gets it out every day anyway. Let her get it out on a mass scale. She needs to. This chick is imploding, you guys. Go look at her Twitter feed.
Don't do that.
She needs an outlet. Let's give it to her.
Good idea.
Her birthday is November 3rd. Oh. Let's get it to her by then.
Okay, we're gonna do it. We're gonna have our own news station by then. Yeah, it'll be online, but it's gonna be ours.
I want to be on TV, baby. I want to be just on the big screen.
I mean, what's the difference? Is like you can watch this on the big screen. So
I want to click the channel to get to You Win.
All right. That'll be life goals. Add it to the list.
That's 2021 goals.
Put it on your board, on your vision board.
We're already on the vision board.
And then now put you win on it as well. You know,
You win. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
We're getting there, little by little. We're building something. One viewer per 4 months. We're getting there. Like,
that's exponential growth, baby. We're on fire. In fuego. You and I.
You can't stop us.
You can't stop us. You can't stop us. Oh my God, Nicole, we need a camera on us in public so people can see just how much we annoy the general public.
No, they get annoyed by us every week enough.
Okay.
But thank you for our viewers who have stuck around for all of this. Michael Moore and I are dreaming big and gonna bring the dreams to life. Watch here. But for now, we'll see you next week.
I may come back to Earth. Goodbye.
Bye.